This is a Jmix exclusive.
Hey, Kevin Swain, can you hear me now?
There you go. I got you perfectly fine now.
Sorry about that. Sometimes this thing glitches.
No worries.
Your first music video was "We Want Easy." Was that
You want easy.
was that your breakout in the production industry, or were you working on projects prior to that?
I worked in projects way before that. Breakout. I couldn't say what a breakout was. I mean, by the time Easy came around, I may have done production management on the Grammys by then. I worked with Robert Townsend on his Partners in Crime and HBO specials. I think I maybe had done a Soul Train Awards by then as well. I would say if there was a single breakout, it may have been the Grammys. The first time I worked on the Grammys as a breakout in production. But as far as first time directing, definitely Eazy-E was my breakout in that space.
Yes, sir. I didn't mean to offend. I just meant music video wise.
Oh no, no. You know, no. Definitely Easy. I was like, well, yes, no doubt.
Has music and the production side of music always been your passion?
My passion has been and is more of music and film and television. I'm on the production side of, you know, the film and TV side, not on the music side, but it's been my passion to incorporate all those doctrines, if you will.
Can you ever see yourself doing anything different?
I can't imagine doing anything different than I'm doing now. I can imagine myself, I see myself doing bigger things, incorporating more music and culture in film. I am living a dream as we speak. I am doing exactly what I like to do. That's what I want to do, and I'm doing what I'm called to do. I recently, just last night in New York City, shot another portion of my film with Robert Glasser Jr. And that's my space. And at the same time in Los Angeles, I was shooting the beginnings of another soldier documentary based on the dancers.
Who is?
And I might add that next week I'll be in Brazil to shoot, you know, part of a documentary on samba. So I'm doing exactly what I want to do now.
Well, thank you for fitting us into your schedule.
No problem.
Who is the person that gave Kevin Swain a shot?
Wow. I would say there's not one single person. There are a number of people who gave me a shot. Notably, my very first production, I worked on the Red Foxx show for Lord Martello Pictures. And then I worked on Motown on Showtime with Suzanne DePath. Then I worked with Robert Townsend. And I also worked with Don Cornelius on the Soul Train Awards. So I'd say all of those were great opportunities for me.
How was Red Foxx?
He was great. Red Foxx was great. He was absolutely great to work with. We understood each other right away, and it was a great experience. That was my very, very first job as a runner, and I understood the value of delivering. I understood the value of relationships, and I understood the value of persistence.
Was he the same on camera as he was in person?
Well, yeah, on camera he was acting, but off camera he was just the nicest, sweetest man ever. He was just a good man to be around, and I enjoyed working on his show. There was also a time when there was an effort to bring more minorities into the business. The Red Fox show was maybe a year or two after the Bill Cosby show, Charles and Company. I think Amen and 227 were a few years after that. So I'm a beneficiary, I should say, of a lot of people's efforts to bring more people of color into the fold.
And Red Fox was one of those people.
No question.
I wanted to ask you about your work on the 1995 rap documentary, The Show.
Oh, hey, that was fun.
What role in production did you play?
I was the producer of the live concert in Philadelphia. We shot that at the Armory, and that featured, I believe, Wu-Tang Clan, the Dog Pound, Snoop, Biggie Smalls, Puffy, Craig Mack, and Run DMC. Ironically, that same production would have had Tupac and Public Enemy in East Berlin, but he got shot just a few days prior to the show. That was a big missing part, to that show. That would have been a great icing on that cake. Well, my responsibility was to produce the live concert.
I was going to ask that because he does have a song on the soundtrack, and we all always wonder why he never made the movie.
Yeah, he got shot right there in Manhattan. I mean, literally, it may have been a week before.
So you did have the chance to meet Christopher Wallace.
Oh, yes, no question.
What was your impression of him?
He's a nice guy. Biggie was a really sweet, lovable guy. Actually, before the show, I produced a commercial he did for St. Ives. He was a really warm human being. Now, I'm not sure if the first or the second Source Awards was after the show, so I had a chance to work with him 3 times. But really, genuinely nice guy.
Well, what's a make you smile memory of the Notorious B.I.G.?
Oh, just his lovable personality. I guess he was a very warm and smiling guy. I think he really enjoyed his life. I think as opposed to lamenting, where he came from, he was enjoying living in the present moment. That's my take on him. I didn't know him personally, but definitely the few times I was around him, I felt he was a human being who enjoys his life.
Did you ever expect a rap documentary to make $3 million at the box office?
I never thought about it, to tell you the truth. And honestly, in today's economy, it should have done better, actually. But you didn't have the social media aspect of it all. But nor was hip hop that big in '94, I believe it was.
Yeah.
You fast forward that a few more years, it probably would have made more money. In fact, it would be great if it came back out because it's a whole new generation who could enjoy that film.
I was under the assumption that $3 million for a documentary in the box office was a good number.
Put it this way, the jazz film shot in Cuba, the Buena Vista Social Club, made $23 million box office.
All right.
Of course, you're talking 2 different genres, 2 different, schools, but nonetheless, given today's marketing, Facebook, Twitter, and such, that kind of film should do better.
Well, that'd be something fans
$3 million is a good number, but it could do better.
Agreed. I think it's very underrated, and it's a great documentary.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get involved with the Source Awards?
The Source Awards, well, I was working in New York on Def Comedy Jam, and my very dear friend Chris Latimer, he knew the guys at the Source very well, Dave Mays and Michael. What's Michael's last name? I can't remember his last name. And he said we had a meeting and we talked about it and we got it done. had no idea who Dave Mays was, or Source Magazine, or the enormity of those shows at the time, to tell you the truth. And we had a good time. We had a really good time. I'm sorry, Michael Elliott and Dave Mays. That's what it was. Michael Elliott and Dave Mays.
Both
It was a good time. It was a crazy show, but we had a good time.
Both these years in 94, 95, they met with incidents that made headlines. Ironically, both incidents involved either Tupac or Death Row. Were you there for the Out on Bail performance where by accident he interrupted Q-Tip's speech?
I was, as a matter of fact. I was a producer of that show, and it was by accident that he came out. If you ever attended a Tupac concert, you know he didn't have introductions. It wasn't like next up, here's Tupac Shakur. He just hit the dat and he came out and did his thing. That was a production snafu. There was nothing intended by it, towards Tribe Called Quest. And I do believe in, even that night they talked about it and it squashed it. And I think in years following, they also, they're on good terms. That there was no harm intended.
So there wasn't a malignant atmosphere when that happened.
Not at all. Not at all. It was again, someone hit a button. Tupac came out. That's hip hop.
In the 95 awards, Suge Knight made his famous quote.
First of all, I'd like to thank God. Second of all, I'd like to thank my whole entire Death Row family. I'd like to tell Tupac to keep his guards up. We ride with him. Any artist out there want to be an artist and want to stay a star, don't have to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the videos, all on the record, dancing. Come to Death Row.
Did you realize at the time the impact of what was being said?
I had no idea that would have evolved into what it became. And as a producer and director, for me, it was just, extra time in the show that should have been cut out. It really had no place in the final broadcast because the show was long. That could have been easily, taken out of the show. History is made on mistakes, and that is an unfortunate history that's made on that mistake. I mean, it sold magazines and it drove the ratings up, but that was somewhat uncalled for.
Apparently, even as a spectator, you can see that there's a hostile environment, kind of, during the taping. Can you explain the atmosphere of what was going on?
I mean, it was the West Coast on East Coast soil, creating a ruckus. I don't think anyone expected it. You're walking in the door, that was what walking into. I think everyone in the theater, attended the show just to enjoy themselves. Yeah. I don't think anyone, walked in and said, okay, it's going to be a huge night, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. Everyone generally wanted to have a good time. It definitely wasn't scripted.
Is it true that there is a colorful comment from Daz that was edited out of the show?
I don't remember. What I remember most is Snoop attempting to reconcile with the crowds that, it's about the music. And the same with Puffy. They both went out of their way to make the point known, make music for everybody. It wasn't about East Coast, West Coast. It was about hip-hop for everyone. That's what I remember the most about that evening.
There's a quote that Dad said, from the bottom of my heart, y'all can eat a blank. And that's the big rumor. So that's why I just don't remember. Okay.
I mean, you're talking, 17 years ago.
No. Well, people still talk about it. During the filming of the Source Awards, had you already had a relationship with Death Row Records, or did that build from that experience, or was it something completely different?
Actually, I was fortunate enough to help produce Snoop and Dre's Soul Train Award performance. I'm almost maybe a year prior. They came out on with the Lowrider and Let Me Ride and all that. Yeah. So I kind of knew, I knew Suge. I knew Dre back from We Want Easy. But as far as Death Row is concerned, we worked together on the Soul Train Awards.
How were you first introduced to Tupac?
And, strangely enough, I actually went to a D'Angelo concert while I was working on the Soul Train Awards and saw Dre. And we struck up a conversation, and he asked me a question. Basically, are you still doing videos? I'm like, sure, why not? And come to my house tomorrow. I got a video for you. And that's how California Love came about. And maybe 2-3 days later, I met Tupac over at Smashbox Studios, and we talked about briefly what the concept was, and kept it moving.
What was the first?
He wasn't a man of a lot of words when it came to work, and we struck a great relationship, and we understood each other very well. And that was it.
The California Love video that you did, is it the Mad Max Thunderdome version, or is it the party version?
I'm the party version. Philip G. Atwell, one of my great friends, was fortunate to direct the Mad Max video. My video, is the party version.
And what exactly was the concept for that video?
It was, really a backyard boogie for the most part. That was really what it was about. I mean, from a narrative standpoint, we wanted to open up with, Dre calling Pac about, let's do some shopping and let's do this party thing. And that was really, that was the only narrative we really had. And the idea was, he would wake up from a dream, because he was thinking about the Mad Max video that he did before. And he's like a bit of a nightmare. He wake up from a dream, get a phone call from Dre, and he invited him to his home, music video home, if you will, to have a party. And that's the video. We basically caravan from Compton to Crenshaw, with lowriders and the Rolls Royce and the whole bit. And that was it was a lowrider? No, actually he was in the Benz, I believe, it was the Mercedes, and Dre was in the Rolls Royce, and we had a good time.
As it's been mentioned in the previous interview, there's alternate footage, like what you just talked about, shooting them drive from the swap meet to the house. There's talk about you putting out some recuts of these videos.
It would be my sincere, wish to do another version of To Live and Die in L.A. So because there was so much footage we didn't use, and so many images we didn't use, and that song is timeless in that L.A. is, has changed, and the images. I mean, the way he's thinking about it hasn't changed much, but the images have changed. That'd be a great video to recut. I mean, just with the new technology of telecine as well, it'd be a better looking video. My video was done maybe 3 days. That's one thing about music videos with Tupac. We shot them one day, they might have been on the air less than 3 or 4 days later. We didn't spend a whole lot of time in post.
What I was getting at, I was asking, was there more? There different angles, takes of the California Love video that you did that might be considered for the same type of treatment.
Yes, I mean we shot tons of footage, shot all in 35 millimeter. There's tons of party footage. That video was somewhat a performance, video for Tupac. The reason why we did the second video is because in the Mad Max version, you don't see him much. He wasn't in the video that much. He wasn't on the set that long. And this video was an attempt to remedy that, okay, this is his video, first one out of jail. Let's get him in the video so we can see him.
Was there anybody at that shoot that you hadn't met yet, like a famous rapper that you were impressed to see show up?
Well, up to that point, I hadn't met E40 or DJ Quick. But I'm glad they showed up. They made a nice cameo. We had a good time. That video to me was, like I explained in the previous interview, I had just returned from New York. I had lived in New York for a couple of years, and it was great to come home and do that project because I understood what they were saying. I'm a Californian, so I get it.
You had said previously that the only bad video setting was a Danny Boy video shoot in Cabo San Lucas.
I can't say I didn't say it was a bad video shoot. That was the only video shoot that may have had, some disruptions. But it wasn't a bad shoot. It was just, we drove all our equipment down from Los Angeles to the tip of Cabo San Lucas. That's a big production. We had a good time doing it. We maybe had a couple of hours where, you know, it just got a little out of hand just because everybody's having a good time. But it wasn't a bad shoot, no.
Can you tell us what was going on from your perspective, or was that your answer? I mean, did you see, like, were people fighting, or was it just...
No fights at all. No, it was just, the music video, basically the entire label came down to Cabo to have a good time. And you can imagine, you know, 15, 20 guys and about 15, 20 beautiful women on this set. You can get a little out of hand just for a minute, but there were no issues. There were no fights. It was just, you know, more fun than we need to have, you know, while we're trying to work, that's all.
And one love to Danny Boy, too, because I love Danny Boy.
Danny Boy was Slip and Slide, his name in that video. Slip and Slide.
Did you see...
He's a very talented man, Danny Boy.
Yes, very talented. Did you see Tupac almost drowned?
One more time?
Tupac almost drowned while he was there. Were you there for that?
I don't remember that. I think he was on a jet ski or something like that. But he didn't almost drown. It wasn't anything like that, no.
That's the rumor.
Yeah, it was not. You don't almost drown, no. That's not even close. Because everybody's having a good time, and, you know. We had, you know, fortunately for that shoot, we had underwater scuba, because on that video, Danny Boy actually walked on water. So we had underwater scuba, we had lifeguards. No one was going to drown that day. That was not going to happen.
Wow! Thank you for clearing it up, because that's the rumor. And
no, that wasn't the case at all.
Were you surprised by the change in tone from California Love and videos like I Ain't Mad at You when you did the production or directorial work on Hit 'Em Up?
Was I surprised by the tone? Yes. I mean, you know, up to that point, everything was, you know, we had a good time, but he was angry. I mean, that's, you know, when you're angry, things change. Unfortunately, we kept the video fun. Unfortunately, the video still was a matter of fun. We didn't get into any violence on the film. We kept it, fun. Just, that's what's supposed to be.
Was the video only shot with the clean version of the song, or was a dirty version shot?
I shot only one version. They may have came back later and replayed the track, but the video I shot was a clean version. And the less angry version, I should say.
What was your working relationship like with Gobi? Gobi also...
With who? Oh, with Gobi?
Yeah, Gobi.
Gobi had, they're another company. They had, their thing going on, and Gobi's a nice guy, but they had their own production. I had my production.
He also claims directorial work on Hit 'Em Up. You did direct Hit 'Em Up.
I directed Hit 'Em Up. I don't know why he claimed that, but I called the shot. My production company. What can I say?
Tupac seemed angry with the Outlaws during the filming. What was the issue there?
I can't say he was angry as much as he was a bit of a perfectionist. I mean, you've got, 6 guys on the set. We had a lot of work to do in a short amount of time. He just wanted them to get it right. He wanted, the energy up. He wanted them to hit their marks. He was just demanding. That's all. I can say he was angry. He just wanted it right. That was his concept, top to bottom, and he wanted it right. Speaking
of concept, fans have been told that there was a Reservoir Dogs type of theme that did not make the cut. We have pictures of people hanging upside down. Can you fill us in on that, or is that just a rumor?
That's the rumor as far as I know. That may have been one of Gobi's videos, not on my video.
Okay. What do you think of the finished product?
It's funny you ask that question. I wasn't exactly happy with the finished product. The post-production, Gobi oversaw, no question about that. There's some things we tried to do, that didn't work. Kind of this forced perspective in a box, whatever, that didn't really work. I I don't think, them on the carousel worked. The white infinity worked, but most of it really didn't work.
Did you ever
I
feel...
think the one thing that really worked was them in front of the white site. That worked. Them having a good time and all that. But everything else really didn't come up, quite the way maybe we thought it would have. That happens sometimes.
Did you ever feel apprehensive about doing the video because of the people that he's talking about it?
No, not at all. Not one bit. Not one bit. I mean, it's a music video. We're having fun. It's like, it's nothing really to sweat.
All right. Fair enough. You directed the infamous Toss It Up Beach version, which is a complete fan favorite. We all love it. Why do you think this...
It's funny. I never saw it. I never saw it air. That's the funniest thing. I've never seen it. And as far as I remember, it never aired. But I guess it did.
I think somebody put it out.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it aired.
Right.
Why do you think that they didn't choose to go with that video?
It just didn't work. It just didn't work. I mean, sometimes it doesn't work. I mean, the concept we had was, we had a lot of things we wanted to do, from parachuting onto the beach and all the girls waiting for them to come from the parachutes and the stunts and, dancing on the beach. It just didn't work. That's all there is to it. We tried to reshoot, and it just didn't work. I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And I think of all the videos, that's the one that just didn't work.
Because you had a previous relationship with Dre, did you see shooting that video as a potential conflict of interest? Because
No. Not one bit. Not one bit.
I wanted to talk to you just a little bit about To Live and Die in L.A. We have already touched upon that there is extra footage that you might, it's in the works that you could make a recut of that video.
To Live and Die in L.A. is pretty straightforward. There's not a whole lot to recut on that video. I mean, we could cut it better, that's for sure. Again, another video that we shot maybe on a Wednesday that was ready by, Saturday. Probably could have better edits on it, maybe better color correction on it, even more shots in heaven, perhaps. But for the most part, often working with Tupac, you tell him to come at 3, he'd come at 3, and he said 5 o'clock, I'm gone. So you know that coming in, so you shoot what you really need to have. He didn't have the opportunity to have multiple takes and multiple setups. He really gave you what he wanted, and that was it.
And To Live and Die in L.A. was your version of L.A.
Right. So most of that video, if I had the opportunity to recut it, I mean, there's so many images we didn't use, and some of the images aren't there anymore. Quite a few of the images don't exist. But it would be great to recut that, just to do a better treatment on the slides and on the driving around town. We could do a better job with that.
The food fight towards the end of the video, was that staged for the video, or was that just something that you guys...
That was impromptu. The food fight?
Yes.
That was something that happened, like, okay, we'll go for it. And I would love to do a re-edit and get some of the people who were in that video and have them talk about it. That was Tupac having fun. That was him really having a good time with the people in the video and just having, not being so serious about it. I mean, having hamburgers at Fat Burgers, which is no longer around on Sunset, on Samuelson, King La Cienega, and Roscoe's, those are just iconic LA locations.
If you were able to hypothetically recut these videos, would it be possible to do a high definition transfer?
Yes, we shot those videos on 35 millimeter. No question. Everything was shot in 35 with the exception of How Do You Want It, the concert version. That was shot in Super 16.
And you also directed that. And that was the first version that was filmed, correct?
Yes, the concert version was first, and then I think Ron Hightower And I did his version, maybe a few weeks later.
Were you sad that you missed the X-rated version?
One more time?
I said, were you sad that you missed the X-rated version?
No, I was there on the set. I was there.
Oh, you were?
That wasn't my work. That's not the work I do or would have done or that I do now. And that's something that he was, that was his space. He was a better person for that video than I would have been.
Fair enough.
It's good to know your strengths and know what you're good at.
I ain't mad at you.
Right.
Whose idea was it to show Tupac getting shot and going to heaven? Was it his?
That was his. That video was 100% his idea. 100%. And we conferred on who was in heaven and how it was important not to judge who was in heaven because we don't know. So we'd add Red Fox in there. Why not? Who's to say?
And you had input on that too, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. We had a great time discussing who was in heaven. I mean, I'd have to say that video was probably one of the most fun videos because of the research and the wardrobe and the mannerisms. Like for casting the gentleman who played Donny Hathaway, I asked him one question: do you have the Apple hat? He said, I got it. Cool. The guy who played Louis Armstrong, do you have the handkerchief? Yes, I have it. The gentleman who played Miles Davis had never even seen Miles Davis before. So I gave him a home video to go home and study because Miles Davis generally played, that claim his life. In his latter years, he played with his back to the audience.
Yeah.
But he did the hat, did the wig, and the whole bit. So that was a great time. And my dear friend Jan Gay lent me some of Marvin Gaye's clothes for that video.
Wow.
So that was just fun to get to do that one. And, of course, having Billie Holiday and having Magnolia in the hair and Nat King Cole on the piano and Jimi Hendrix and all that. That was just fun. That was a fun video to come together, to be somewhat authentic, if you will.
So it was one of the more happier video shoots?
No question. But the video he liked the most was I Ain't Mad At You. That was the video he enjoyed the most.
Did you feel odd the first time you saw it air after Tupac's death?
No, not at all, because the video was done almost a month before. I mean, that was just sitting in the can. It wasn't like any kind of eerie, synchronicity or anything. It was, it was work. And I was asked, by Time Magazine, did he discuss his death and everything? Not at all. It was really just, looking back on it, of course, the BMW and coming out of a party and all that, it's an eerie semblance, but there's no conversation on, okay, this is how I'm going to die, or anything like that.
At the time, and I know you were just working, but at the time, did you have any notion of how big and popular these videos were going to be?
Of course not. Had no idea. But I did say to Suge that when it came down to the live performances, like the House of Blues, how important it was to capture all the performances in order to have a library one day. So I'm glad that he gave me the opportunity to shoot the 4th of July show at the House of Blues, because right now that stands as his last recorded performance. So I feel like we did a good thing in, curating at least that show so generations to follow have an idea what he was like, at least on stage.
Were you surprised to see the hologram at Coachella was the image of Tupac from that event?
No, I knew all about it.
Oh.
I knew all about it.
Did not know that.
Philip was a very good friend of mine, and we talked about it and, how to capture it and what was important to have, what the important, features, for the Tupac double to have, and the wardrobe, chain or no chain, hat or no hat, that kind of thing was very important. Wife beater or no wife beater, tattoos. We had a good time, just talking about how to make that authentic.
What was your impression when you seen it for the first time?
You know, it was strange that the audience was eerily silent at first. Because if you think about it, you know, Tupac left us in 1996. That's 16 years ago. I would imagine most people in that audience really hadn't seen Tupac perform. I mean, you'd have to be, 16 years ago, if you're 25, 26, you're a baby. You were 30. Okay, you were a 14-year-old, you know, teenager at the point. You may have had, you know, an opportunity to see him or know about him. I mean, you know, with the fortunate technology we have, you know, artists are kept alive to music videos and such, but I don't think very few people in the audience really experienced them firsthand.
The reception of that was huge.
Yeah, it was.
Were you pleased with the outcome? Were you pleased with what was presented?
It was cool. I mean, it was nice. It was cool.
All right. Cool. What was your first thought when you heard that Tupac was shot in Las Vegas?
What was my first thought, you said?
Yes.
I thought it's a shame, man. My prayers went to him and his mom right away. I was at Isaac for this concert here in L.A. when I heard the news, and I thought, what a shame.
Because I've talked to a lot of people, and they said that their initial reaction was that he'll make it. Did you have that feeling at all?
I didn't have it one way or the other, just because I didn't know, you know, the extent of it. And I heard it took out his lung. I was like, probably not. You know, as the news developed, it seemed less and less. You know.
How did his death affect you?
I mean, it's in the words of John Donne, any man's death diminishes me. You know, it was sad, to say the least. It's definitely a shame. I just felt for his mother and his fans and his family. I mean, in that space, you know, it's just a tough space to live. And I think, you know, with the death of Tupac and of Biggie, you know, the whole beef thing, you know, it took on a whole nother level, and also, fortunately, has diminished as well. Because now people understand, like, you know, that whole thing is, okay, you beef on wax, that's one thing, but when it comes to real life and people actually do lose their life, it's like, you have to look at that another way.
What's your favorite memory of working with Tupac that makes you smile moment?
It's funny you ask that question. The thing that makes me smile the most is when we were shooting To Live and Die in L.A., he had just got back from Milan. I mean, talked about that. He really, really loved Italy. He really had a big soft spot for Milan. We had more conversations about Italy than anything.
Whoa.
You mentioned Italy, you mentioned Milan, his face just lit up.
What was his biggest excitement from Italy?
He loved it. He loved being there. In fact, when we did the House of Blues concert, he had to fly in from Milan, as a matter of fact, to do that show. In fact, before I even knew him, there was a Vanity Fair article about Tupac, and he mentioned in the article how much he really, really loved Italy. And I, love Italy also, so we had a great time talking about that. Nothing else even came close to our conversation than that conversation.
Did you ever see any dissatisfaction from Tupac while he was on death row?
Dissatisfaction?
Yes.
No. I mean, our relationship was a working relationship, and we took care of business. And, if I said come at 2, he might come at 2:30. But I always told him, I'll keep you for no more than 3 hours. And I would shoot everything I needed without him first. So when he came, it was like, here, we can do this, and we're out. I think he respected that. And I, enjoyed it, but it gave me a great directional set on how to, utilize his time. He wasn't one to wait around much. He was a very, very busy man.
Now, you've done a lot of things. How do you feel that the music industry has changed since you got started?
Oh, no question. I mean, it's like, is there industry anymore is the question. It's like artists have a very difficult time making money now. I mean, on one hand, they have a difficult time making money in the traditional sense, but if artists have opportunity to market themselves well and own their own masters, perhaps they're making more money. But the record business is definitely changed just on the commercial side of it all. It's really difficult, to be developed as an artist. It's a very difficult process.
What is your favorite project that you've worked on hands down?
Wow. Well, that's a good question. I don't have one favorite. I may have 5 favorites. And I would say California Love, How Do You Want It, my Alicia Keys at the Hollywood Bowl, my Mary J. Blige concerts, and working with Stevie Wonder. That's my top 5.
And speaking of current projects, what is next for Kevin's One?
What is next? I guess I mentioned earlier, I am directing a film with Robert Glasper. I am directing a documentary on samba in Brazil. Also one on soccer in Brazil. I have a feature film that I'm shooting in Brazil. I have a couple of music series that I am directing. I'm actually directing a concert for the group Fun on New Year's Day in New Orleans. I do a lot of work in Africa. I plan to do work for China and keep working around the world.
That's awesome. And in closing, do you have any words for the fans of Tupac trying to keep his legacy alive?
Listen to his words. Listen to his words. He had some very poignant things to say. He had some great things to say about being conscious, about being diligent, about being steadfast, and about loving each other. His life would be lived in vain if his fans just heard the music content and didn't really listen to what he had to say.
This is a Jmix exclusive.
What up, shut up?